The following program is a production of WXEL Television.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully.
that I will execute
Faithfully the office of President of the United
office of
States.
President of the United States faithfully,
And will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President. All the best wishes.
With those words, Barack Obama became the nation's 44th president. Millions were in the audience there in Washington, D.C., and millions of others stopped at work, school, home, wherever they were to witness history. Welcome to a special edition of South Florida Today. Obviously, it is now the day after. The parties are over and President Obama must face some serious challenges ahead. Tonight, we talk about these challenges and what it means for us here in South Florida. I'm welcoming three distinguished guests to help us figure it all out. Addie Greene, Palm Beach County Commissioner, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Professor Robert Watson, who you've been a political commentator throughout this whole election process.
It's been fun.
And we're finally almost there at the end. And Sid Dinerstein, the Palm Beach County Republican chairman. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, you know, he promised a lot in an eloquent speech. And already today, it's about, afternoon, we're seeing some of those promises being instituted. Addie, already limits on lobbying and salary and meeting with the Middle East, possible envoy. Is this what you kind of expected, having been, I know, an Obama supporter? Is this kind of the quick response that you expected?
I don't know about everybody else, but he has been so minutely involved into the campaign before he even became the president. So this is not a shock to me. I'm not saying what I like about him, though, is he did completely respect the president, President Bush, and he was there. But it was like he was moving forward before he even became the president. So no, this is not a surprise to me.
Professor Watson, we were talking before we went on the air. Is it unlikely that somebody would come in on their first day and actually have Middle East, leaders call a meeting about lobbying limits? Is that an unlikely situation, or is that pretty normal?
No, it is. It's pretty normal. Most presidents have an agenda. They need to hit the ground running, and Obama needs to hit the ground in full sprint. We have an $11 trillion debt, the world's largest budget and trade deficits, 2 wars, a crisis in Gaza, and the list goes on and on and on and on. He's not going to have the luxury of starting slow. Plus, we have this sort of arbitrary 100-day measure. Ever since FDR's 100-day legislative agenda, we give the president a scorecard at 100 days. So what Obama's going to do, I think, is have 2 strategies. One is the short-term, issues that he can do immediately, an executive order, a stroke of the pen to begin closing down Guantanamo Bay, to end the use of waterboarding, to allow stem cell research to be completely viable in all forms. But then there's a long-term strategy, the economic recovery, things like infrastructure, energy, healthcare, research and development. This will take years. So he needs to communicate to the public that there's no short-term fixes. We're in this for years.
Sid, obviously on the other side, what was the Republican feel yesterday watching the inauguration? I'm imagining you talked to a lot of your party, strong. And what was the feeling? And are they ready, to use that word that we keep hearing, to be unified?
Number one, there is no other side. I know it's hard for this country to appreciate this, but all sides have one president at the same time. Too many people vocally disrespected George Bush and the office of the president. You'll never see that from our side. That's number one. Number two, if unified means agreeing with policies that we think are poor, then let's hope not. America does not do well when everybody's on the same side. So if unified means being respectful and offering our best opinions, then we will in fact be unified. I think that making changes that affect lobbyists, boy, this is something our side's been pushing for a very, very long time. I am a little disheartened that he went ahead with the Geithner selection, because already they've polled over 40% of America wishes he hadn't, because there's a cynicism that we're all so ready, all across the spectrum, to adopt. So when you put a guy in charge of the economy who didn't pay his own taxes and say, well, he's the only guy who can do it, you're already selling some of your political capital for nothing. So we're looking for good government, and certainly the country wants it and will support it.
But in the broad spectrum, and this is really what we're trying to hone down to, especially, Addie, if anyone knows what's, really in the pulse of the county, of Palm Beach County, the financial issues are real here in our own county where we sit as a public television station. We're feeling it. Other nonprofits are feeling it. People in general are feeling it. Is it realistic that one appointment can make a change, or is everyone going to have to, as President Obama said in his speech, tighten the belt, hit the road, do what they can do?
Number one, I'm not going to sit here and nitpick one item. I think what President Obama has done is shown how inclusive he can be, how he can reach across the aisle. I in all of my years as an elected official, I've never known anyone to show the nonpartisan he has shown. And I think that's one of the main things that's going to help us move this country ahead.
Professor Watson.
Yeah, Sid brought up a good point about being unified. Being unified doesn't mean that we don't have debate. Debate is a good thing in democracy. Dissent is a good thing. But one of the things I'm excited about with Obama is he's talking about unity, but unity where we respect differences. For one of the problems, for example, is under George W. Bush, he said, you're with us or you're against us. If you're not a friend, you're an enemy. And all debate was squashed as being unpatriotic. What we see with great presidents of both parties, like Teddy Roosevelt or Truman, is they respect dissent. They see dissent as valuable. Obama embraces diversity as a strength. And diversity not only in the way we might think about it, but in opinion and perspective.
Another obvious, huge issue on his plate, the wars, Afghanistan, Iraq. Let's just see what he said yesterday. Kind of gave us a glimpse that he isn't going to be weak when it comes to this issue.
That we are in the midst of crisis is now well understood. Our nation is at war against a far-reaching network of violence and hatred. Our economy is badly weakened, a consequence of greed and irresponsibility on the part of some, but also our collective failure to make hard choices and prepare the nation for a new age. Homes have been lost, jobs shed, businesses shuttered. Our health care is too costly, our schools fail too many, and each day brings further evidence that the ways we use energy strengthen our adversaries and threaten our planet.